Today we are going to paint a winter landscape with a house in oil paints. You can download the photo at the link in the description. I will paint with oil paints. You will need a canvas on a stretcher or cardboard. I have a square canvas 25 by 25 centimeters. Bristle and synthetic brushes, pencil, eraser or kneaded rubber, palette, wipes to wipe brushes, linseed oil and solvent. If you paint with oil, if you paint with acrylics, water will suffice. I am going to start with a pencil sketch. I am starting with a silhouette of a house with a veranda. I don't draw the house exactly in the middle of the canvas. I move it a little to the right. The main object in the middle shouldn't be placed. It is compositional illiteracy. It should be shifted somewhere to the left or right. At this stage, don't render the details, only the general outline, so that in case of mistakes, it would be quicker to correct. For example, I now realized that the house should be a little smaller, and I quickly correct it. I will mark the contours of the trees. I will correct the roof a little. I think it's more elongated. Now I will show the strip of forest in the background. In the foreground, I have a path and there are fences next to the house. I am moving on to the colors. I mix dark brown and light blue and paint the darkest places. You can use blue instead of light blue. I paint with a thin synthetic brush. I periodically dip the brush in linseed oil to make the paint more pliable and fluid, so that it will stick better to the canvas and listens to me. At this stage, we paint without working out the details. This will have to be done in the second part of the work. I started with the house. I divided it into light part and dark part. I worked on the shady part of it. The gable of the roof, this triangle here, I make it a little lighter. But just a little bit, because it all refers to shadows. I paint a strip of forest in the background with bristle. I mixed ochre and blue. Ochre is a light brown paint. I added blue to make the forest go into the background. I don't paint the forest with synthetics, but with medium-sized bristle. Here I don't need such exactness as with a house. Also, the bristle give an interesting texture. For the background and for the trees, this is what is needed. Also, I paint the ends of the picture with the same paint. Then, they are not white, but a continuation of the painting. In those places where it's necessary to trace the house neatly, you can again take thin synthetics. It's quite difficult to paint with bristle. Now I'm going to paint the sky. It's a sunset sky. I will mix white and craplak. Craplak is a kind of red and burgundy paint. You can use regular red or a similar color. I add a little yellow and paint the bottom part of our sky. In this case, when I'm painting the sky in this picture, I'm doing brush strokes mostly horizontally. This way I create the illusion of clouds and give the sky direction, as opposed to the way I painted trees before. There I applied the strokes crosswise, creating the illusion of leaves. It's not a rule, it's just one of the techniques. I don't forget the ends of the canvas. I mix the pink again and add pink shades. The same color we have a little bit above. So, in the middle is a light sky. I paint it in blue. At the junction of the pink and blue, I make a transition from one color to the other. I add a little bit of pink to the blue and paint on the border with this color. I use a brush to smudge the border, so that the transition is smooth. The sky is always darker from above than the horizon. Therefore, we mix more blue and less white. On the border with the pink stripe, we also smudge a little to achieve a smooth transition. You can't have a sharp transition in the sky. I will make it even darker in the highest part of the sky. To do that, I'll add more blue and make a smooth transition to the lighter part of the sky. I will use a brush to smudge the paint. I paint the top end of the canvas with blue, the same color as the sky. I want to add brightness to the sky, so I'm going to mix in a very light blue and brighten some parts. The sky is the brightest part of our picture. It's also the most saturated part. So, to darken it's very dangerous. Then all the other elements will be even darker, and the whole picture will be dull and dark. There are dark burgundy areas in the sky, on the clouds. So I'll paint them. In small, jerky strokes with a bristle brush. And I'm blurring the paint with the brush to make a smooth transition from one color to other. I do this all over the sky, where necessary. Now I'm going to paint the snow, which is in the shadows. I generally go from dark to light in my work. It's easier that way. I took a thin synthetic and mixed a pretty dark shade of snow, blue with white. In the photo, it may look like snow everywhere is white, but it's not. If you compare the snow on the roof and our sky, the sky is much lighter than the snow. The path also refers to dark snow, so I will paint it the same shade. The far snow is also dark. And now I will paint a light snow. I'm mixing white and blue. Only this time I will have more white than blue paint. Sometimes I add carmine. Carmine is burgundy. You could substitute with red or pink. The snow reflects the sky, so it will have shades of pink. You could even add a little yellow or ochre somewhere. Just a little bit. Again, I do blue without adding red. That way, with different shades, I achieve picturesqueness. I paint the end of the picture with the same color. Washing a brush in linseed oil. I have a separate video on my channel about how to wash brushes during and after working with oil paints. Hint above. Moving on to the trees. I'm mixing dark brown with blue. I'm going to use bristle brush now, but it's a hot level. You can use a synthetic brush. Synthetic will be more accurate. I intentionally want to get such a sloppy effect of dry trees, so I took bristle. First, I paint the trunks. Then I will do the leaves on the top of them. If the trees don't come out well on top of the undried oil, you need to dilute the paint more in diluent, in linseed oil in my case. Then the paint will be more fluid and easier to put on the canvas. Use enough paint per brush and don't put too much pressure on the canvas when you paint the trunks. You can paint in 2 layers, then there's less chance that the paint from the previous light layer will bleed through. Now, mix in the right shade of green and make the leaves. They will overlap the trunks. I make the leaves in small synthetic and fine strokes. I paint the leaves in several shades. Some are a little bit lighter, some are a little bit darker, but the difference is minimal. In general, these trees should be seen as a whole dark spoon on a background of light sky. Combine your leaves in the branches to get a few different paths on these spruces. I think I'm missing some trunks. I draw some more, and I'd add a little more foliage on these trees. Painting the trees in the background with a thin brush. Note that the trunks of the trees in the background are not black. They are a little darker than the forest, but still not black. I generally didn't use black in this painting. I have a mix of blue, brown, and white in these trunks. If they are too dark, they will come out in the foreground. The second point is that they need to be thin enough. Use a thin synthetics for them. Next, paint the branches. They are even lighter and even thinner, but darker than the sky. I'll make a shadow under the roof and then come back to the trees in the background. I'll draw the bullets on the end of the roof. Back to trees again. You can show these dark paths between the trees to create the illusion of a dense forest, as if there were a lot of tree trunks, but leaving light gaps at the same time. Now we are going to paint the smoke. I do this with a fine bristle brush, small strokes and circular movements. I paint the smoke in several layers. First a light paint, then a darker one. Due to this, layering will be the effect we need. For our path to be realistic, it needs the volume. Let's make a shadow. We will come back to the track. Somewhere we will show shadows in the snow. Here we will have spruces and there are the shadows under them. Now I am going to paint the spruces. I'll paint them in 2 layers. The first layer is a dark green swamp paint to make a general framework and branches. For the second layer, I mix a richer color with a shade of lime green and a few strokes on each tree with this color. I make darker shadows under the trees. I will paint a window. Notice, I am not just painting it with white paint. It's light blue paint, similar to what we paint the snow on the roof of the house, but it looks white against the dark wall. Let's go back to the path. A streak of light is needed here. This is the height to which the snow is deepened and the light falls on it. So we will paint it. Now we will work on small details, such as fences. You can show the light on the roof and the snow on trees. Our winter landscape is ready. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel not to miss new videos. Until more creative experiments. Bye bye.